You're all set.
7 o'clock, welcome everyone to April 19th, Water Pollution Control Authority meeting. We have posted an agenda online. Are there any proposed changes? Seeing none, we'll proceed with the agenda that's posted, and I'll just preface this by saying that John has a, I don't even know what meeting it is, one of the meetings to review the project for
RTM.
RTM
Yep.
tonight with our Vice Chairman Joe. So he will leave here and join Joe. So we'll try to be most efficient. First order in front of us is the approval of the March 15th regular meeting minutes. Is there a motion? Motion from Chris to approve, second from Matt. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nancy, Chris, Matt, Mark. Next in front of us is the approval of the April 10th special meeting minutes. Motion to approve. Matt, second by Chris. All in favor?
Aye.
Mark, Nancy, Chris, and Matt. Moving on to new business. Act and discuss solutions for transformer failure at the plant. Mr. Bodie, what do we have here?
February 17th of this year, the transformer at the Influent building blew the fuses. The crew called in a high voltage electrician who changed out the fuses, and to no avail. The transformer was found to have a short internally. We had the transformer that was replaced at the RAS building put in its place on Monday the 20th. Rough cost is about $18,000 for that. Between the 2 days, the crane, incidentals as far as connectors and all this stuff, and the high voltage electricians, Yankee Electric. That being said, we replaced a 20-year-old transformer with a 20-year-old transformer. It could last 2 days, 2 months, 20 years, 2 centuries, we don't know. I'm looking right now at possibly getting this one refurbished. Rough cost, don't hold me to it, about $46,000. A rebuilt one is about $66,000. And a new one, if you can get it, is about $75,000. So I'm still trying to nail down the guy. I'm sending him more pictures of what we have. There's some considerable rust in spots, but he said it can be repaired, but he wants to see it. So I've got a few other feelers out with a couple other companies to see what they come back with. Never thought we needed a spare in the past, but we replaced the one in the admin building because it was leaking oil, so we caught that one before it let go. The one at the RAS needed to be replaced for the microgrid, and thankfully we saved it, and this one forced our hand. So just something to be aware of, something that's going to come down the road, and we'll see what happens.
Can you get
Roger, welcome.
later on? Can you get transformers?
There is, the gentleman I talked to in Pennsylvania, who said he could refurbish ours in 44 to 46 weeks, has remanufactured ones there right now. And I think the price is around $66,000.
And then for a new one, would it be worth just getting a new one if you're?
New one would take a year to get.
But I would suspect this one might last a year.
Might.
But either way, you're gonna be screwed if it goes.
We'll be on generator until we get one.
Yeah.
The refurbished one is in Pennsylvania. The nice thing about that company is they come and they'll pick it up, they'll bring it, they'll do it, test it, certify it give you a warranty for 3 years and truck it back, all for one price. So that's a nice feature. I'm trying to get rid of this, sorry. How does one do that?
Click on the record button down below.
Hey, Ron, can you just lean to the left?
Are we still recording?
Yeah, I think it's still recording.
Yeah, you're right, okay. Okay, so this is just an information thing to put it on the radar, and I'll have more information next meeting.
is there a difference in estimated useful life for rebuild versus new? I mean, I would imagine there is, but how significant?
I don't know.
Okay,
The one we replaced in the admin building 2 years ago was a refurbished one because new ones
Right.
weren't out there. And to get we were supposed to get a new one for the Influent building, because this was on our radar last year and there was just none available. So, it's all the supply chain stuff.
Is it all the same is it the same transformer for a lot of the buildings? So you,
I know it'll cover at least 3, maybe 4.
really?
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
it
And then if for $10,000 more, is it better just buying a new one and just having it, to have it, you gotta wait a year, it doesn't, like, in my mind, I'm like, I bet that old one will last long. But
okay, well, I mean, I'll put that on you when it fails tomorrow, and I'll call you up and say.
That would be my problem, calling people up. Yeah, I know, that's what.
I was talking to Ray Berry, Yankee Electric, and he goes, you know what, nobody really even had this on the radar to say, well, yeah, these things got a useful life, and, you know, we should be looking at them until
No,
this happens, you know what I mean?
30 years.
Yeah. So that's where we are.
Yeah, we've had conversations in the past that we will be having many of these conversations going forward when we're dealing with 20-year-old
Right.
equipment.
Right.
So it seems as though we should kind of have a philosophy around this and kind of how these replacements slot into a plant upgrade that will take place if you want to have grandchildren or, you know. You know, if we bought a new transformer, does that new transformer kind of, I think I know the answer, but does that work well with a plant upgrade?
Probably. Yeah. Yeah, because I mean,
you're gonna need power.
Electric.
there's not gonna be a lot of additional equipment in the upgrade,
Yeah.
just more efficient and better equipment, so.
It's not gonna go bad.
Right.
That's the thing, it's not like technology's gonna change on a transformer, or it's gonna be obsolete.
Yeah. So it sounds like the sense from the commission is find a new one.
Find a new, okay.
Or at least figure out, I mean, either find a new one or get a better understanding of
Okay.
the difference between the refurbished and a new.
Okay.
I mean, if it's kind of like a certified pre-owned car, like if they have a guarantee on it of
Sounds like 3 years.
basically like a new car, then you might as well go with the certified pre-owned. If the guarantee is not as good as a new car, then it might be worth spending the extra 10 grand to get
I
a new
looked at
car.
10 grand more to buy a new.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not gonna go bad, yeah.
So, John, I don't know what the RAS center is, but
Although
is that the one we're using?
year-round generator.
And what happens if that one goes?
We have to get another one.
But where do we go?
We go to the same place we go this time, and we could be, this one took a year. We ordered it, well, let me rephrase that. We ordered it last March, it came in December.
So what happens when a transformer fails for 3 days? What doesn't get done?
That area gets run by the generator. So from Friday the 17th until they got that transformer in, we were on generator power in that building.
And where are we with this $80,000 or so portable generator?
The portable we approved in October.
Yeah.
We're going before the board soon. I mentioned that to Jared just this past week.
Yeah.
Because the Easton Turnpike generator had another issue, which I was thinking, God, we gotta get another rental, but Cummins fixed it and it's good, so.
Okay, well, let's segue over to the belt press.
Another, item that, is key to the operation of the plant,
I would say so.
getting rid of solids. If we were due for an upgrade and it was happening in a couple of years, I'd say, let's wing it, but the thing's 22 years old.
Yeah.
And I was cold called by somebody from Texas who says, I refurbish these things, I can do it in place. I said, give me a price. And he gave me a price, and I'm waiting, while he's refurbishing, we have to still press sludge. So there's rental units involved and all that stuff, so there's more cost to it. Rough guess he gave me as far as a refurbish, was like $250,000.
Yeah.
I had another guy from Texas call me and says they can do it for about 100, plus the dewatering stuff. The second guy said if we refurbish it and we do get an upgrade and we replace this thing in 8 years, chances are we can sell it for a rental unit. Somebody will buy it because it's recently refurbished, it's in decent shape, so there's some value in it. If we do refurbish it and we upgrade in 8 years, 7 years, we can get some money back on that. So I've got one price without dewatering, I've got one tentative price without dewatering, and I've got a call to another company I haven't heard back yet, so. Next meeting, I'll have hopefully more information as to how much and what is involved.
How much is the rental unit that we're currently running? What does that run, or cost?
The one that they just cleaned, I don't remember, I don't remember. We cleaned the digester, we paid, but that was disposal and everything.
Yeah, that was a lump sum, that was,
Right.
yeah, that was, it was by the dry ton, it was by a unit
Right.
price of what they took out, I don't know what the breakout for that mobile unit was.
Okay.
Both gentlemen indicated that the rental of the equipment will probably be more than cost of the refurbishment, but
Right.
it's just the way it is. But they would set it up, we would run it, we would run the sludge through the compost, so it's just be the rental of the piece of equipment.
Got it.
That's running really wet sludge through the compost, though.
Because the digester's broken, we're running wetter sludge through the compost right now.
Yeah.
If you got a press that was in a little bit better condition than ours right now, we might be able to get it drier. But the thought is, the digester will be up and running when we go to do the refurbishment. So once we get the digester running, we get digested sludge, we'll have a better, drier cake going through the compost when our new machine gets here in July.
What do you think?
What's the timing on what I see act and discuss, like, how fast are they looking to potentially refurbish?
They're waiting on us.
They're just waiting on
Yeah,
us.
the first guy said, listen, that's great, you gave me a price, but I need a couple others, and
Right.
we need to discuss, so we're not gonna be,
Are we on? 'Cause I just got kicked off.
Hey, Ron, you on?
Still recording.
Unmute him.
Ron,
Ron, you on?
Nancy?
We're gonna have a collection of like parts.
Yeah, I'm here.
Partially functioning parts and replacement parts.
So,
Can Nancy hear us?
I'm not sure if I should.
I can hear
keep
you.
going
Can you
there.
hear me?
Wait, there we go.
Hello?
Ron?
He's on mute.
Can Nancy hear us?
I can
Okay,
hear
hi,
you.
Nancy.
Ron, you're muted.
Ron's muted.
Can you hear me? Hello?
How's that?
That's
Yeah,
it.
There you go.
Did you lose
Hi.
us for a while there?
No, I heard everything going on, but, I couldn't see you.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, so as part of the consulting.
I can hear you, Nancy.
That we're soliciting, is, doing facility condition assessment and then coming up with at least a 5, if not 10-year CIP. So we can get, the whole point is we're gonna be getting.
Month one.
Well, yeah, it does sound that way. To John's point, like, if we refurbish this thing, what's gonna come out of that consulting thing is a plan.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'd still have to act on that plan, which would theoretically consider design, procurement, and then construction. So I can't see anything happening within, at least 1 year, if not longer, depending on how fast we can initiate design, procurement, and then construction on all these different projects. So if we were to move forward with the refurbish, that piece of equipment's probably in for a minimum of 2+ years.
Yeah.
And then if that's it, we could look to sell it somewhere else and at least get some of our money back. So, it sounds like it's worthwhile doing it.
A new press would be $250,000?
To refurbish the one we have, one guy gave me a price of $250,000. We got a price to replace both machines upstairs for, $225,000 mil. New piping, new pumps, new press, new,
Again,
kicked off again?
yeah.
No, we're on. I'm done. Ron, can you hear us? Thumbs up?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Just kick Sheila off.
Yeah.
No, you're back. Okay. All right, so we'll get to the scope in a few minutes, and maybe we'll revisit an aspect of that that may include the kind of the bridge to the rebuilding of the plant itself.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't know whether or not we're gonna be getting, I mean, we're not asking them to do like another facility master plan or anything, so I don't know if we're gonna be getting like recommendations on whether or not we should, like, for example, switch from like a belt filter press to like a centrifuge, or like going whole new technology type of thing. But they will at least tell us, like, yeah, we'd recommend repairing or replacing this or this or this type of thing. So, I don't know, it seems like it's
Yeah, it's a really.
not, I don't think we're throwing bad money at fixing something, as long as the costs sort of, I mean, the $100,000 doesn't sound like that's
Right.
that seems like a responsible thing to do.
Yeah, for sure.
And I hope to have more solid numbers next meeting, so.
Okay. Go on to, old business. Perfect segue. Ask Matt to update us on we call it the audit, but it's really the analysis.
Yeah, so, should I?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so, like I said during whatever our last meeting is, we've been, John Marsilio, Tom Bremer, and I have interviewed a couple consulting firms, asked them to prepare scopes on an operational audit or operational assessment, an organizational assessment, and facility condition assessment. So those are the three things that the consulting firms are preparing price and scope for. And so all three kind of work together. They provided us scope and fee for the operational and organizational, but didn't include the facility condition assessment piece in their initial. So this morning, John Marsilio and I were talking, and I reached back out to the consulting firms and asked them to include the facility condition assessment and deliverable of like a recommended 5 to 10 year capital improvement plan and the rationale behind it and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm expecting to get that, best case, end of the week, otherwise early next week. And so if we're looking to review and approve that, and want to do it as soon as possible, then I would ideally like to have a special meeting between now and our May meeting.
Sure.
Give us a couple days maybe after they submit it early next week, so maybe by like either the end of next week or early the following week, just have a quick virtual type of thing so that we could review and approve the scope.
Yeah, this idea of the interim replacement with existing kind of technology, which is 40 or 50 years old, or leapfrogging to new technology as an interim into a new facility, I think it's critical. I mean, why go out and repair a belt press if a new plant's not gonna have a belt press?
Right. Well, so that's where the operational, I mean, we don't need the newest technology and stuff. We need whatever works for us. And so, I mean, that's where the operational piece and the condition assessment sort of blend together, because they will have meetings with John and his staff at the plant, find out what they're doing, what's getting in their way, what bothers them, all that kind of stuff. Compare that with what equipment we have and the age and all that kind of stuff, and then come up with a plan that sort of puts all that together. So,
How quickly do you think they can be kind of boots on the ground into the plant?
I mean, once we approve, pretty quick, I would
Okay.
think. I would imagine that the full assessment would probably take 4 to 6 months. That would be my guess. But, I mean, if you're looking for like early information type of thing, I mean, they could probably at least verbally give us thoughts after their condition assessment.
And are, the engineering department, so folks like Christine, are they involved in that process?
I mean, they will be. They haven't been involved in the vetting process.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
in
but they
terms
will be
of-
going
Yeah,
forward.
exactly.
Okay, great.
I mean, we'll be taking a huge step back once the consultants are moving forward and.
You will be.
I will be, yeah.
Might move to the side or something, yeah, I haven't done anything.
But they'll be talking to the plant folks.
Okay.
Is this pretty basic for a lot of the consulting firms to do for, WPCFs? Kind of this assessment, or is this kind of like, are we doing something a little different here? Is this kind of like just general?
Good question.
It's not commoditized work, it's specialized.
Yeah.
But the firms that we've been talking to do it
And they,
nationally.
yeah, they do it, and it's not something, this is kind of like basic kind of condition assessments and structural, and is this basics, or is this kind of different or a little bit out of the box on a lot of these?
I mean, I do this type of stuff
Yeah,
professionally all the time.
Okay.
Like, I mean, help develop asset management
yeah,
plans, which is going into a facility, taking a look high level at condition, work order history, age, material, all that kind of stuff, and then developing a capital improvement program or O&M program around
It's,
the equipment.
and then like knowing that, because this is like completely new world for me here, and I'm like, wow, that's actually pretty cool, there's people that do that, and do this stuff. Is there anything that we should also be looking at? If we're doing this stuff, is there something that we're missing? Because I have no clue I'm not an expert on this, it's like, if we're doing it, if they're at the plant, if they're doing all this assessments, I would hate to be 8 months down the line, they recommend something, we're like, oh yeah, we should have done that, or we could have gone back. I just wanna make sure we're really doing as much as we kinda can up front, and then we have enough information.
I think we're doing everything we should be doing. I mean, you can always do more when it comes to planning stuff. I mean, you can put together an asset management plan for 20 grand, or you could put it together for 2 million.
But like, this should be,
And it's just more detail and more,
because they're going through like everything, this should be even like billing, because I know we were talking about, okay, well, billing, and how are we gonna start adjusting our rates? Like, this will start looking into that, or different management.
they're not gonna be
plans for
doing
that,
they're not
too.
gonna be doing the rate study
That,
piece
yeah,
on
but
this,
at least like, if we're looking at
The process.
the process,
right?
are we gonna be looking at the process of billing, or the process of?
In terms of the organizational.
Yeah, that's what I'm,
probably,
just because it's like, if
how
we're-
billing gets done.
Yeah, or just how, yeah, exactly, like, how is everyone else doing it, or how are they looking at it? Because I think I'm sure we haven't done this in years and years, and we're always talking, okay, well, I know personally on ours is that we've had sewer bills that haven't gotten sent out in 5 years, or sewer assessments that haven't gotten, bills always get sent out, assessments don't. I think that's where the disconnect is.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we're looking into it, and if we're already like there, can we ask maybe a couple more questions to say, okay, well, if we're gonna be adjusting our rates, what's an easier way to bill it, or do we have direct access to some of these items, like even like Aquarian, so then at least we're all interconnected?
Yeah.
And that was just a general, it's like, I would hate to miss something, we're really doing a great job now, and for another little bit, and if we already have the firms in place and they're there, should we really be looking at anything? And this is
It's a-
new world for me, I have no clue.
Good question, and I don't think that if we have follow-up things, I don't know that it's saving us a whole bunch by like trying to throw the kitchen sink at them right now. I think that what we've identified are in my opinion at least, the 3 most critical components.
Okay.
We need to figure out how the whole organization even works, because I mean, I've been on the board 2 years and I don't understand
Yeah.
it. And so,
Understood.
I think that's one piece. Operational, we're on single shift, so is that the right model for us, or should we be looking at 2 or 3 shifts? And how are we doing work orders? And there's a whole bunch of different components to the operational piece. And then obviously on the facility condition.
Yeah.
what's the estimated useful life of everything. So,
And they're just doing the facility, they're not doing any of the lines.
correct.
I'm wondering to what extent this impacts the, basis for the capital plan that Joe put together, presented to the art,
Dramatically. I think that's the reason why that's the main reason we want the facility piece, is so that we can actually, I mean, right now on our books, we're showing a $60 to $90 million plant upgrade, but nobody knows what the projects are that add up to that 60 to 90 million.
Okay.
That's what this whole process is ideally supposed to identify. Do we actually have 60 to 90 million in projects?
So we don't know.
Right, exactly.
So, all right, so, this will get us good numbers and
Yeah, it'll at least give us an engineering basis to
Right.
present to the Board of Finance, if nothing else, and say, these are the projects that we have in the next 10 years.
They'll certainly want to see that.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it'll also allow us to increase headcount and get the organizational, the roster that we need to both run a plan, run upgrades to the plan, and run $140 million or so in projects over the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
And
It can also identify, I mean, even non-infrastructure related projects, like to your point on billing, like if operations, if there's somebody spending like 80 hours a week or something like that, just sending out bills, there's probably a system we could procure that might help with that whole process. Or, I mean, on the work order side, like if we're either doing paper work orders or not doing work orders at all, I mean, there are computerized maintenance management systems that
Right,
could
that
potentially
sort of
help
thing
us.
is be baked into the budget as opposed to capital plan. I'm
Right.
thinking along the lines of, what's gonna get bonded over the next
Right.
20 years.
And John, are the employees informed and knowledgeable, and are they gonna be on board? Because all this information is only gonna be as good as the input that gets put in, and I would
Yeah, I mean,
really hope that, they'll that we're encouraging.
They will be
I know they are, but
clients to the
that's,
consultant.
yeah, and that's why it's like, it's only as good as everyone that's
Right.
putting the information in, and
I think if you ask the employees at the plant what they do, you're gonna be surprised about how much they're gonna wanna talk,
That's
because they
Yeah.
haven't been recognized, they haven't been, heard. So they're ready to be heard,
Good.
and the consultants are gonna be prepared to
So
sit there and
they'll-
listen
that's
for
good.
hours and hours and
Yeah,
hours.
so at least, they'll be happy that they're
Yeah,
they're
oh,
doing
absolutely,
this. Okay, that's good.
absolutely.
And they are well
Good to hear.
advised that this is going on, so
Yes.
it's not
That's
gonna,
good.
it's not
Good to
gonna, just slam them.
Yeah.
That's good to hear.
the only point I was gonna make is, one of the prospective firms did a kind of lunch and learn session with, some of you were there on directional drilling, and it was one of the more informative sessions that I've ever been involved in on this commission, and it helped us make some real-time decisions on a couple of the projects. And so plugging into that third-party expertise, I think, is really valuable.
So we speak from authority then, yeah. That's great.
Okay, great. Matt,
Thank
thanks
you,
for all
Matt.
your work on that.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Commission member of the month.
Joe, you got demoted wherever you are. Demoted, Joe.
Yeah, you can only safely say that because Joe's not here.
Joe's not here to say that.
I'll be seeing him shortly, and I'll inform him that he's lost out.
He lost out. Member of the month.
Be prepared for a phone call around midnight.
He'll make up for it.
I was gonna say, that's his first time since I've been on the board. He's not the commissioner.
We could be talking T-shirts there.
Okay. Update on current projects, Carrick's Drive. Christine, is that you? Come and join us.
Come on in, Christine.
We have some good updates.
We have these.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, we do.
Information on most of these, so we'll be pleased.
I'm sorry. So, I skipped over the list of candidates for the audit, but is it safe to say that's fluid? I mean,
So, I mean, the current plan right now is we've already gone through the whole vetting process, and we've landed on a team of Woodard and Curran and Raftellus to do the scope. So now we're just waiting on
Gotcha.
the revised scope.
Woodard was the firm that helped us with the directional drilling, and Raftellus, gave us some great information on billing and invoicing, so it's my experience with both firms, it's very positive.
Can you just spell that, ref?
RAFTELIS.
Thank you.
Exactly how you think it would be spelled.
Not really, not me, but.
I'm surprised that it's spelled that way.
So, Carrick's Drive sewer extension.
Carriage Drive, we got the bids in at the beginning of April. We got a good amount of bids, so it was very reasonable and balanced. Low bidder was Burns Construction, which are very knowledgeable in the area of utility, installation. The lowest bid was $209,106, which was well within the budget. It was $325, I think, was what was approved. And again, it was balanced. It wasn't like that was like the lowest and the rest of them were, all of them were well within the range. It was a good bell curve. We had our pre-construction meeting today with them. We're hoping that they can get started on May 1st is our thing right now. They just have to get their contract signed and, their pre-bonds and bids and all that stuff has to be settled with purchasing, but we should hopefully have that by beginning of next week. And then they're anticipating it's a 90-day contract, but they're anticipating they're gonna get it done in about 3 weeks, but we'll see. But they have 90 days to do it.
Yeah.
So, I'll reach out to the residents. I have the names of the 2 residents that I guess that have been in contact with engineering. I'll reach out to them just to give them a heads up that we're looking for early May, and then I'll reconfirm with them.
Yeah. Do you, maybe John knows, how are they thinking about their lateral connections?
We discussed that, a little bit today. They just basically said they want to get the sewer line in. The lateral connection, it could go out, it could go out to whoever the homeowner wants to hire.
Yeah.
But I mean, the ideal thing would be to do, if Burns is out there, you might as well have them tie in, but that's up to the homeowner, you know, whoever they want to
Yeah,
hire.
we're bringing laterals to the curbs for the 6 houses,
Mhm.
the curb line, which the elevation
So they
was
could-
determined by the engineer based on
Mhm.
like their basement. He went into the basements of the houses and determined the elevation based on that. And then the homeowner will have to meet it at the curb line once it's installed.
Yeah, I seem to recall, this is now going back years, but we have to go pretty deep there.
The sewer line's is more than 8 feet deep
Yeah.
in that area, and then the laterals will go out towards the curb.
Okay. Comments, questions? I mean, it's taken a long time to get to this point, but the silver lining is that bid of 209 is probably 100 or more lower than it would have been last year.
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
Possibly, yeah.
You think?
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think the 200's really good price.
Yeah, I mean, they're experienced contractors,
Yeah,
like what they
Burns
do. They're on 4 different other locations around town working on
Yeah,
other
yeah,
projects and
yeah.
stuff, but.
It's not like it's a run-of-the-mill person.
Yeah.
That you're like, oh, I'm a little nervous about it.
I deal with Burns an awful lot, and they do
Yeah.
a lot for the utilities, and all that. They're a phone call away.
All right.
you know.
So hopefully next meeting, we'll have an update that we're progressed.
Thanks for taking the lead on that. I know it's gonna mean a lot to the homeowners. Been remarkably patient, at
Yeah.
least to me, maybe. Okay, next is the status of the primary digester.
The digester repairs are going well. We are on track. The concrete repairs have been completed. The cover was actually lifted today. Or starting to lift it today. It's a 2-day process. They're using hydraulic electric to lift up the cover. So that's progressing so far well today. We did have a few unexpected things and a few, some positives and, not necessarily negatives, but as with construction, things change. So some aspects of the project where we thought we were gonna be replacing the liner, turns out there is no liner in the interior. We finally got access into the tank, a couple weeks ago, and we were able to inspect it up close with the liner representative as well as the engineer, and we realized that there actually was no liner on the concrete walls as we had suspected, and as the previous 2000 upgrade contract drawings indicated. The concrete is in good condition for the most part, so
What was on the walls that looked
it
kind of like a
was
line?
really dried sludge
Okay.
that hadn't been cleaned, that had not been cleaned off by the cleaning digester.
Got it.
We don't need to remove it, it's fine to leave it on the walls, but,
It's been there that long, it's gonna stay.
yeah, we got really close to it, got to break it down in our fingers,
And so that sand was just from, being a beach community?
which, the sand that came in.
I thought there was a lot of sand in it.
There was a lot of, but
We
yeah.
thought it was from the liner at one point in time. We thought maybe there was a sand-based liner. There was someone saying.
The influent building is supposed to catch the grit and the sand that comes in.
Yeah.
And as it ages, it lets stuff go through, and you can imagine how far it can get, and it got to the digester. After 20 years,
Okay.
So there will be some changes, we'll be deleting that liner work. There are some, based on our interior inspection, there are a few cracks that we've noted. There apparently were previous repairs done on the floor of the digester, which we were not aware of, we had no notes of that. So we have to repair some of those cracks. And then there's an expansion joint in the floor, which is kind of an unusual design. We're gonna do some epoxy injection in the cracks and in the expansion joint, area, just to, seal the whole thing off for when we fill the digester back in. So that'll be like a change order that we'll do, but it's all within the contract budget of the project. I'm just waiting on those numbers now. And so we're still on track for end of May. The contract expires in the middle of June, so they have till June 13th to do their work, but, they were planning on finishing by middle to end of May, and we're still on track to finish by the end of May. And then the digester, once we're done with that, then the digester will be commissioned, and we'll go through that process of commissioning the digester, refilling it back up and getting it back up. Not with the current contractor, with the Wright Pierce, our designer, will help us with that.
Is that gonna help the smell down there once this gets recommissioned?
I'm told it will.
Has there been a lot of complaints recently about the smell?
not that have come to me.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago, there was
Okay.
Friday,
Right.
Friday afternoon.
It's getting warm out and.
Any
People
updates
are
on that
going
new,
sidewalk.
that spray system? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, that PO came in, that's been approved, they'll be on site Monday.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So now, yeah.
But on the composting? the spray
Yeah,
for the
there's a
compost?
bunch of different spots, the compost by the digester, everything. So I think by the end of next week, they're gonna be up and running.
Any other comments, questions on the digester? Then we go to the Fairfield Beach Pump Station and Force Main.
Okay, so I think the last time I talked to you guys, the board, was in February, and they mentioned that, the direction of that project was, we realized that we needed to revamp the RFP, and we needed to go into like a quality-based selection in order to qualify for funding, and that, based on a conversation that engineering and myself had with Connecticut Deep, and looking at FEMA requirements, looks like the pump station will have to be elevated. So engineering kind of took the lead then on the RFQ that would need to be developed to get a consultant on board. And they have prepared an RFQ, it's been reviewed by Connecticut Deep. We should hopefully get it out the door soon to go out for advertising. But it's basically one, request for qualifications for consultants, because that's the process that we need to follow in order to qualify for any clean water funding in the, for these projects. It's to qualify the consultant it's for all 7 pump stations, but we wouldn't be issuing it for all 7 pump stations. It would be for Fairfield Beach initially, and then the other 2 primary ones were the South Pine Creek and Center Street pump stations. And then the other 4 are more like a lower priority, that they would, if everything goes well with these designs and construction, then we could give those designs to that same consultant, or pick a different consultant, from what I understand. So that RFQ was prepared by engineering. It was reviewed by Connecticut Deep and was given their blessing on, that it meets all the requirements. And then it can be sent to purchasing once everyone's okay with the idea that we have to do it this method. And it does look, based on the flood zoning that these structures are in, particularly Fairfield Beach, because it's coastal flood, it's like a VE zone, which is the most significant. We do have to elevate the structures, and raise them up out of the flood zone. South Pine Creek and Center Street, I believe, as well. So the design for those projects was a little bit more than what we originally anticipated when the original 300,000 might cover it. We don't know yet, but it is possible that when we do get the proposals for those designs, they might be higher than the original estimate, because the design's going to be a lot more involved than we originally anticipated.
So it's a single RFQ for all the lift stations.
Yes.
Are we selecting a single, or can we select multiple?
The way that it's
Right.
written now is we can select one consultant and give them one project or 2 projects or whatever we want. And then from my understanding is we can pick somebody else off that list if we wanted to, for the other pump stations.
Got it, okay.
Because if they qualify, like
Right.
a qualified list. That's how I understand it.
And we're not getting pricing then in the through the RFQ process?
No, we get the qualified
Yeah.
list, qualified candidate, and then we get the pricing.
Got it.
Yeah, that's how this is supposedly goes forward.
So I'm a little bit confused. So we pick somebody, we say, give us pricing on
For the Fairfield Beach Pump Station.
and then if we like it, we just move forward. If we don't like it, we can go to the next one.
If we
down
cannot
the line.
negotiate with them, negotiate a contract, and we don't reach an agreed upon price, then we can pick the next
Okay.
second candidate. Yeah.
And then what about, so then Fairfield's done, or, I mean, we're ready to move on to the next one, whether or not Fairfield's done.
Mhm.
We go to that first consultant first, and then, like, so are all, let's say we get like 5 consultants, are they ranked 1 through 5, and,
That's my understanding, yeah.
okay.
But you're not getting pricing on anything, you're just going.
Just
with number
quality-based
Not
selection.
originally, not.
one. Just quality based.
So we'd rank them, go to number 1 first on every single project as we're ready to move forward, ask them for pricing. If we can negotiate with them, we do, and we just move forward. If we can't come to an agreement, then I guess we go to number 2.
But how do you know what is good pricing?
That's the thing with quality-based selection, it's like you're paying for the quality. This is what's required by the
Do they even provide, like, hourly rates or anything without,
I'm not sure, I'll
Okay.
look into that.
I'd be
you done
curious.
that? Have you done that before?
I mean,
Or-
I
or
usually only go
quality?
after quality-based selections, because
Yeah.
we're not cheap.
And when you've done that methodology,
But
you
if,
typically give your, so I've done quality-based
Yeah.
before in New York, but we gave, the consultant had to provide the proposal
the rate,
at the same time, and that we just didn't open it until we selected that consultant, and then we opened up their proposal, but apparently that's not how, this is
it's so many
dictated
different
by
ways
the
to
Clean
do it.
Water Fund, it's not, the procedure that they gave us, is you don't get the proposal
Right.
first, 'cause I felt like they should
Here's a
review
great
the
thing,
proposal before they know they're selected, but.
we don't have a choice in the matter,
Yeah.
but we've often talked about going this route, so we get to see firsthand the
Mhm.
effectiveness of it. I like it.
Yeah, my understanding is you're not tied to the consultant, like, so if they do Fairfield Beach and we're having a hard time with the design, or we don't like the direction that's going in, or we're not happy with them, we don't have to continue with them for like the next ones, or
Right.
we can pick the next consultant.
Yeah, I mean, before we've gone price, and we've learned that 2 million goes to 10 million, and we're still with the same.
Right.
Should have picked the more expensive guy.
Yeah.
But I mean, and I don't know whether or not if they're required to provide rates, but if they are, then, and you're going time and materials, then you know it's a good price because you can see the number of hours. I mean, that's kind of how things work. Like, if somebody says they can do it for less, they can, but they're spending less time on it, there's gonna be more mistakes, they're doing less work, so. You get what you pay for.
Okay. That's really interesting. Glad to hear that. East Trunk Wetlands replacement.
So that design is complete, the package is ready for purchasing, it's been reviewed by pretty much everybody, it was ready to go. However, there's a DECD, Department of Economic and Community Development grant of $750,000. So they apparently have to, we just found out they have to review it before we can send it out for advertising. But apparently it takes like 2 weeks or so, which is what they said, so we're anticipating at least a month. But they had already previously reviewed original draft back in the fall, so, they just have to give it their blessing, and then it will go to the purchasing department. So hopefully that will be put out for advertising, in May. And then we could hopefully have bids in June, I think is the schedule. So we could know if there really is a $5.5 million project.
That was our budget, 5.5.
That's what
This,
what
at
the
one point in
estimate
time, we thought it was $1 million.
And then 2 million.
Yeah. And 5, so that could be 5.
Oh, maybe it'll be like,
Maybe.
Carriage
Yeah,
Drive.
maybe
the way
it
they
will
built
be.
it. Maybe it'll be 3.9.
Maybe,
Yeah, pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
Chris told me that's largely materials, but, you know,
That's a lot of
Not as much-
dewatering,
not as
so
much
maybe,
work.
Yeah,
we
it's
could.
it's all
You're gonna get
supportive
whacked.
excavation, that's
Oh,
You're
like
gonna get
that's
whacked.
90
Now with $2 million
yeah,
of
80%
just
of that
watering
job
and taking
is
stuff
actually
out.
Yeah, given the volume.
preparing
That line.
safety for getting the.
Yeah, the cost was driven
And then-
up by the
Yeah, they're
piles and the
just, they're
support.
classifying it as all contaminated, so. it's
Yeah,
gonna
and the
go-
liner and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then the inspections associated with it are more specialized. So the
Right.
inspection cost is a little higher, because there's
Yeah.
like 3 different specialized inspections.
You figure take your dewatering number and double it, because I guarantee you it's gonna take them twice as long to do it, and they
Yeah.
only put in
in
Had that-
12 to
yep.
16 months, but yeah.
Had that been done when the Metro Center infrastructure went in, it maybe would have been $500,000. I'm guessing, but, you know, a fraction of what it is now. Okay, I feel better for saying that. Fiscal 2024 department budget.
Joe's been doing great.
Yeah.
Oh, no. That was a short-lived month.
I really haven't had a chance to go through the Board of Selectmen and Board of Finance meetings or anything, but it doesn't look like they cut anything, so
Yeah,
I think we're good.
yeah. All right, good luck tonight. Okay,
There's some discussion about a change in personnel in the budget that was initially requested.
I requested an additional, employee, yeah, but that was shot down.
Right, so, but that's not a change necessarily.
No, it's just a disappointment, really. I mean, I was hoping to get
Standard
another
line.
one, but
Yeah,
well, it's my understanding that when this organizational review is done, and if it comes back and suggests some
yeah,
augmentation of staff, that we go back and present a revised budget.
right.
and that's just the point I wanted to make, so.
Okay. Well, on the flip side of that, we have to discuss recent resignations.
We lost 3 key people, and I hate to say key people because everybody there is key. Everybody's very good at what they do. I hate to lose one. We lost 3. We lost our chemist, who moved on to bigger and better things. She's running the Shelton plant now. The other 2, a little more money, a little different scope of what they have to do. I really can't speak for them, but they're making more money. One person's closer to home, and one person is doing more than they would do for us. So good for them, bad for us. So we're going to be hiring 3. The lab manager chemist, she left to run Shelton. Her assistant in the lab is leaving. Thankfully, somebody we just hired in November has been trained, has taken to this like a moth to the flame, is excellent at it, so he's going to move right in. So that's kind of covered. We'll have to get a chemist, we'll have to get an operator and another laborer. So they're all out there. I think the labor, the assistant and the operator go out to the public, but we're probably going to fill the assistant one internally, so it'll be a laborer. Danielle's is already out there. It's on the NUIA website and WEF and all that, so I'm hoping we can get somebody close to her caliber. We're really hurting with her gone.
Okay. Well, the organizational review should hopefully,
It'll always highlight.
yeah, highlight that, and do you need any support in terms of I saw on I-95 today, a billboard that Fairfield schools are hiring. Maybe you can.
Oh, maybe we could say, and the wastewater treatment plant. It wouldn't cost much just to add that, right?
Yeah. Okay. Comments, questions? Okay. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. Christine, great work. Great to have you on the team. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn? Motion from Chris, second from, you want in?
Sure.
Absolutely. All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks,
night.
everyone.